I am so delighted to be chatting to you today about Blossom and Root Language Arts, how I'm using that with my two children at the same time together. We're working through it, different grades, and it's amazing. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tiffany and this is Hint to Life Homeschool. My channel is all about motherhood, homeschooling and organisation. So if those things interest you at all, I would love for you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Okay, so language arts has been one of those subjects that have been, I'm going to say, a little bit frustrating and a bit dry and boring. Sometimes they start out really well, but then they kind of fizzle out. And that has not been the case for Blossom and Root. So I wanted to make sure before I created this video that we had been using it for a good couple of weeks solid. And we have definitely been doing that. We have already finished the first book. It was amazing. My kids absolutely loved it. And it's the fastest we've kind of gotten through such a hefty, like it's a decent sized novel. It's the fastest we've finished a book. We kept in line with her kind of schedule that she provided to a degree. We changed it around because we have other things going on through the week. So we moved things a little bit, but we finished things by the end of that week that she had suggested to finish. And it felt good. It wasn't too much work. It left breathing room for rabbit trails, which she is so passionate about. The editor of Blossom and Root has an absolute talent. I'm just blown away by how much she has put into this curriculum. It would have been such a huge job to create this because she has just done so much research and there is just so much value. I think that, having used quite a few language arts by now, this has been just the best value curriculum that I've come across by far. That said, I will say that obviously, when you're having to source books from a book list and, level 4 has been around for a little while now, I think that I did struggle to a couple of those books from the book list. Most of them I couldn't get from my library. Having said that though, I'm really happy for these books to sit on my shelf. They are such a great variety. I really, really love them. My kids are looking through the pictures and the picture books, and I know that they're going to be books that are going to stick around for quite a while. So I don't feel that is excessive to have to buy those books. We're going to be spending a lot of time analyzing them and that's value. I'm okay with that. The books that are suggested as extra, we have definitely been able to get, and they've been wonderful as well. So definitely a great resource. So it starts off with the literature journal and there's a prompt. So there's always something different, like there's an interesting question or a prompt or something kind of, referencing something that happened in the book. And the kids need to answer that question or give an example or that sort of thing. But they have the opportunity in the box above the writing task to draw your answer as well. And my kids have absolutely loved this. They're taking this on as like a challenge, and they're looking up how to draw mice and how to draw rats and like trying to imagine the house that Mrs. Frisbee lived in and all of these things. And then we even made a clay owl, which is a character that's in the novel as well. So there were lots of opportunities for variations of things, and they got in and they were doing their drawing task while I'm reading, and they're totally just engaged like the whole entire time, which is fantastic. We do our word list and our vocabulary and copy work, and those tasks, funnily enough, they're one of the favorites with my kids. There's usually an option of a couple of words that generally are not commonly used. And they're words that, you need to investigate. So it gives you the answers on the back of the page of what those words mean and some examples of it that have been used within the book. And I think that that's amazing how it ties in with the book, which is so fantastic. But also it's, my kids just love picking the most unusual word, whether it's like gross or just, you know, that's just my kids, that's their personality, and it's just hilarious. But my daughter chose rancid, and she drew some milk, some off milk that's gone green, and it's just, you know, the smell is just everywhere, and she knows that word. She has been using that word very often, and I just love that. I think that's fantastic. So these are sprinkled throughout as well. Each week we get to do one of these things, and it's just become this really cool thing, like, what are the words going to be this week? And it's turned something that could be like really bland and boring, like a task that could be done in a workbook. I could just imagine, I've seen those things, and you know, I usually just skip past them because I know my kids are going to hate that. But this is something that is really fun. And then also just like the actual word lists and the tasks that they have within those as well. So we have like grammar and punctuation, you know, reading as well. And then there's also, you know, the copy work. So you have a good sentence to read first, practice reading, and then you get some challenges for grammar work, and then you've got your copywriting as well below that. So everything's based around that one really good sentence. So it allows them to absorb so much more from it, rather than getting a whole bunch of different tasks and having to transition between those changes and trying to understand the instructions. It's kind of predicted now because we've got this nice little rhythm, but it's not boring because it's a different sentence each time. There's different tasks each time, or there's different elements to the task each time. For example, this was just a plain like going through, and you've got to put do the punctuation, and then you've got to do the copywriting. But then another week we did a really fun activity where we had to alphabetize. We had an alphabetizing challenge. So the kids took it upon themselves to give themselves a time frame and to work out how many words they could alphabetize, or how quickly they could do it. So that was really, really fun. So the vocabulary is definitely something that my children really look forward to. They love the extra little projects that they give within the word list as well. And I was a little concerned about the words because I felt like they were probably a little bit too easy for my son, but maybe too hard for my daughter. But they both seem to like really enjoy it. My son aces them, but he's on grade 5, and this is level 4, so I expect the grade 5 to probably be more appropriate for him. But we have another book for that to challenge him further, but it seems to be fitting my daughter really well. So she's around the grade 3 level, so we'll see. There's a couple of words there that she seems a little bit challenged with, so that seems to be working really well for us. We just kind of like see what feels good. Obviously if they're finding the words too hard, then it would be not enjoyable. We're having a blast, so it's fine. So lastly, we have dictation. So honestly, I've never really done a lot of dictation. We did a little bit with The Good and the Beautiful, I believe, when I used that with my son early on. So that was quite a few years ago, but it wasn't something that I found to be something that was enjoyable for him. But that could have had something to do with the dysgraphia and the not wanting to write, and just being something that wasn't within his interests. Whereas this time round, he takes it as if it's a personal challenge for him and wants to just like get it perfect. So we go over and over, and I say the passage over and over and over as many times as he needs me to, slowly, fast, however, and he generally gets it correct, and it's very impressive, and it's been fantastic. Now my daughter is a little bit too young for that. She's not there yet. Probably soon. She really likes to watch Isaac as we do this, and I think that's really, really special, and she kind of like tries to like, you know, cheerlead him on, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's very, very enjoyable. So overall, the last couple of weeks have been phenomenal with Blossom and Root. It's truly been probably the best curriculum we have used for language arts by far, and I have really nothing bad to say about it. it's been fabulous. So it's been a couple of weeks, it's been 5 weeks that we've been using it. We finished the first book in 4 weeks. We're on to our next book. And I really love the fact that often with language arts, when it's around books, I have found that yes, it starts off really good, but then you kind of go, oh, another book, and it seems like really repetitive with the tasks. That was something that I was a little concerned about. But because the book is completely different to the first book, so the first book was a novel. This book, the second book, is Greek mythology, and just completely different from the first book, which is so amazing. And the tasks are different, and before we know it, like, my son's looking up different kinds of games that he can play around mythical creatures on the computer, or he's talking to his friend that he didn't even know but was a big Percy Jackson fan, and he's telling him of all the novels that he should be reading. So he's making a novel list of his own that is around this kind of theme, and it's been amazing. So there is definitely a sense of rhythm within this curriculum, but the books have so much variety and are so different from each other in that way that the tasks are refreshing enough to keep things super engaging and interesting and fun. So I think she has such a talent for this, because I think that is an art form. Thank you for joining me on this little kind of deep dive tour through Blossom and Root Language Arts. Sure, I'll be talking more about Blossom and Root and how we're going with that. Maybe another sort of check-in video or something down the track with how we're going and whether I still enjoying it and as passionate about it as I am today. I really am excited to see where this takes us as a homeschooling family, and the fact that we can both my kids doing this curriculum has just been such a gift, to be able to really thoroughly teach my children, give them a wonderful education without it costing me a huge deal of time and energy, to be able to do just the one book and cover all of the things that I feel like they need to cover, and doing it in such a fun way. There is no way I could have done this on my own. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like it, because it does let me know that I should be continuing with this kind of theme, and maybe do a couple of more Blossom and Root videos. We've got other subjects that we got, like science. I'd love to share what we're doing with science for Blossom and Root. It has been wonderful, equally wonderful as the language arts as well. So I'd love to share that with you. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested in learning about the Blossom and Root science. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.